We've all seen those drivers, the ones who act like they own the road, tailgating, honking, swerving, and thinking nothing can touch them.
Someone started to shoot fireworks at her during a road rage incident. No one was hurt here, but Kitsap County deputies are hoping that someone knows the people in that truck.
But sure enough, karma doesn't always wait long to catch up. So without further ado, let's get into the most chaotic, satisfying road rage moments ever caught on camera.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Why isn't that guy going?
Well, you better hope the hell he don't get us.
Ooh, he better not get out that car.
Oh, look, he is not the fire.
Oh.
Starting with one that ends with fireworks. Literally. In Kitsap County, Washington, one driver found herself in a scene straight out of a movie.
That shooting on 249 and Ella set off the fireworks inside the victim's truck as it drove down the street.
Except it was all too real. As she drove down the highway, a Dodge truck pulled up beside her, and then, out of nowhere, fireworks. Literal Roman candle fireworks were being launched from the passenger seat toward her vehicle. The driver, stunned but quick thinking, began swerving to avoid the blasts while recording the whole thing on her dash cam. The truck kept pace, continuing to fire at her like something out of Mad Max. Luckily, she managed to escape and turn over the footage to authorities. The incident triggered an investigation and a statewide manhunt for the suspects.
And the vehicles got out, exchanged more words, and one of the males produced a firearm. The other male returned to his vehicle and started to leave.
And while they haven't been officially named yet, that dashcam evidence, yeah, it's doing all the talking. Not every road rager gets caught this dramatically. But as for the next guy, well, he went viral and didn't even realize it until karma had already hit. Only in Australia could a road rage incident start with a bong and end with a crocodile wrangler. Stephen Turnbull, a wildlife expert and well-known croc handler, was driving with his son when a white Hyundai began swerving dangerously into his lane. Concerned for their safety, Turnbull tapped his horn, and that's when things escalated. The Hyundai suddenly stopped in the middle of the highway. Out jumped a shirtless man holding what looked like a glass bong. Dashcam footage captured him marching up to Turnbull's vehicle, yelling, frothing at the mouth, and then spitting directly at the windshield. He then tried to smash the glass using the bong as a weapon. Turnbull remained calm the entire time, shielding his young son from the madness. Eventually, the man stormed back to his car and sped off like nothing had happened. The footage quickly went viral, and police launched an investigation to track the man down. And while no one was hurt, the entire country watched the footage in disbelief. It's one thing to act like a maniac on the road, but when the whole country sees your face mid-meltdown with a bong in hand, that's karma working overtime. And next up, a cyclist who treated the streets like his own GTA game and got hit with a reality check. Sometimes karma works fast, and in this case, it moved faster than the guy on the bike. In southwest London, a car's dashcam captured a cyclist making one of the worst decisions of his life. He was riding down a narrow path when he decided to veer into the road to overtake another cyclist without checking for traffic or signaling. A nearby driver gave a warning honk, and the cyclist's response? He flipped the driver off and kept pedaling like he owned the lane. But then, reality hit back, literally. Just seconds after throwing the gesture, the cyclist turned his head and slammed directly into a street lamp. His front tire crumpled, his body flew forward, and he hit the pavement hard. The best part is, the dashcam caught the entire sequence, from cocky to collapsed in crystal clear detail. People online had a field day with the footage. Some praised the timing of the crash. Others pointed out how dangerous and entitled the cyclist's move really was. Either way, the video became a viral hit for all the wrong reasons. One rude gesture, one moment of pride, and one very immovable lamppost. Now let's just say the next guy tried to weaponize his entire car and instantly regretted it. Some road rage incidents escalate into arguments. This one turned into a full-on highway attack. In Temiskaming Shores, Ontario, dashcam footage captured a white Toyota RAV4 swerving across lanes in a reckless manner. Another driver, seeing the danger, flashed his high beams to warn the vehicle ahead. What followed was one of the most violent road rage encounters caught on Canadian highways. The RAV4 suddenly stopped, turned around, and began chasing the other driver. Within moments, it rammed the front of his vehicle with full force. The victim stayed calm, calling emergency services while trying to stay on the road. The RAV4 driver struck again, trying to shove the car off a bridge. The attack was relentless, with multiple hits and high-speed swerves that could have ended in disaster. Police responded quickly, deploying a spike belt to stop the suspect. The driver was arrested and charged with assault with a weapon, dangerous driving, and other offenses. The dashcam footage played a major role in the case. It was a deliberate and dangerous assault in broad daylight. Unlike the last incident where justice arrived in an instant, this one turned into a full-blown high-speed chase across multiple freeways. This chase didn't just involve a fast getaway, it ended with 3 suspects hiding like cartoon villains in a backyard shed.
The want on the vehicle, but the vehicle took off. It did exit at Terra Rihata for a few seconds and then got back on the 23. It's now on the 118 eastbound and is in Simi Valley. So we're keeping an eye out for the Sheriff's Department. The airship is going to be arriving.
In March 2025, Ventura County deputies began pursuing a black Mercedes linked to a retail theft at the Camarillo Premium Outlets. The suspects had reportedly stolen over $1,500 worth of merchandise from the Nike factory store. When deputies tried to pull them over, the driver took off, flooring it through traffic on the 101 at speeds reaching 120 miles per hour. From the 101 to Highway 23 and then onto the 118, the suspects wove dangerously between cars, even riding the shoulder to get around blockages. At one point, the car's tire came off and hit a big rig, but the driver didn't stop. Eventually, the Mercedes pulled off an exit in Simi Valley and rolled to a stop. The 3 suspects jumped out and ran into a residential neighborhood, diving into a shed to hide. Law enforcement moved in, surrounded the area, and arrested all 3 without a fight. For a pursuit that looked like it could have ended in disaster, it wrapped up surprisingly clean, with all 3 in handcuffs. Now let's look at the next driver who thought cutting in traffic would work in his favor, until physics got involved. In March 2025, a woman driving a Tesla down Route 66 in Flagstaff, Arizona, was involved in a frightening confrontation that escalated without warning. According to reports, another driver cut her off in traffic, then slammed on his brakes and parked sideways in front of her, blocking the road completely. Surveillance footage and witness videos show what happened next. The man stormed out of his green vehicle, approached the Tesla, and began shouting. Things turned violent when he reached into the driver's side window and started physically attacking the woman behind the wheel. She didn't get out, and she didn't fight back, but the attack kept going. Another man from the suspect's vehicle eventually pulled him away, and they fled the scene. Thankfully, police were able to identify and charge the suspect, 33-year-old Robert Arthurton, shortly after. He was hit with a criminal citation and remains under investigation. What started as a petty road disagreement turned into a violent attack, caught on camera in broad daylight. Next up, we've got another viral clip, but this one ends with a little more metal-on-metal justice. And metal wasn't the only thing colliding in this next one. People were throwing hands right in the middle of traffic. In March 2024, drivers along Telegraph and Swanson in Southfield, Michigan, witnessed chaos unfold during rush hour. It started with one vehicle brake-checking another in a dangerous game of intimidation. Hazard lights flashed, cars swerved, and before anyone knew it, both vehicles came to a full stop at the intersection. That's when things exploded. Multiple people jumped out of both cars and charged at each other, right in the middle of live traffic. One witness, Katie Kramer, was stopped at a red light and recorded the whole thing from inside her vehicle. The video shows a full-on street fight with shouting, punches, and one car getting damaged in the process. Kramer immediately called the police and turned over the footage. Officers arrived within minutes and arrested 2 individuals.
And I realized as we're pulling up to a stoplight that they were like trying to brake check and swerve in front of the car behind them. And all of a sudden, like before I even know it, out of nowhere, these like other people start coming up and they're fighting in the middle of the road, like just wailing on each other, throwing things, hitting him with their purse. It was crazy.
One of them was charged with driving under the influence, and both now face additional charges related to assault and disorderly conduct. And this wasn't just an argument, as it was a brawl in broad daylight, and the entire intersection turned into a stage. Coming up next, another public meltdown, but this time someone uses their entire car to make a point and ends up making a massive mistake. Some road rage incidents end in yelling. Others end with an arrest. This one involved a full-blown axe. In February 2025, a minor rear-end collision at the intersection of Poplar Avenue and South Goodlett Street in Memphis turned into something far more violent. A man driving a 2012 Chevy Impala was bumped from behind by another vehicle. But instead of exchanging insurance details or keeping it civil, the man decided to escalate. Surveillance and eyewitness video captured him storming out of his car, pulling a full-sized axe from his vehicle and swinging it at the other driver's car. He smashed the rear windshield, then the front one glass shattering everywhere, while the victim sat trapped inside, unable to move. After causing the damage, he jumped back into his car and sped away from the scene. The suspect is still at large as of the latest update, and Memphis police are actively asking for tips to locate him. Crime Stoppers is offering a reward for anyone with information. It's another clear reminder that rage behind the wheel doesn't always stay behind the wheel. However, not every road rage meltdown plays out in traffic. Some take an off-road turn, literally. Now this one felt like an action movie gone off the rails, literally. In March 2025, Scott County officers were tracking down a suspect wanted in connection to an earlier assault. When they located him, he wasn't in a getaway car. He was behind the wheel of a full-size RV. The chase began with the RV heading north on Highway 169, then eastbound on Old Shakopee Road before merging onto I-35W South. Officers tried a pit maneuver as soon as he hit the interstate, but it didn't work. Because of safety concerns and the RV's unpredictable movements, they made the call to back off. But the suspect wasn't done. He exited the freeway at Cliff Road and kept going until he lost control and crashed near Cliff Fen Park in Burnsville. From there, he ditched the RV and ran into the woods on foot. Officers released a K-9 unit, and it didn't take long. The dog tracked him down, and by the time EMS arrived, the suspect was in custody with a few bite wounds to show for it. It was reckless, chaotic, and straight out of a movie. But the ending was all real. But if you thought an RV barreling off-road was wild, wait until you see a biker and a distracted driver go from passive-aggressive revving to a full-blown roadside confrontation, caught entirely on camera. Some drivers think they're invincible behind the wheel until they're face-to-face with the person they just provoked. This clip starts with a biker revving his engine at a driver who was too busy scrolling on his phone to notice the green light. That petty rev must have struck a nerve, because the driver responded by swerving toward the biker and clipping his mirror. That turned the situation into a chase. The rider didn't let it go. He gunned it after the car, weaving through traffic until he caught up. When both pulled over, the driver jumped out, ready to argue and maybe throw hands. But the second he got in the biker's face, everything changed. Caught on camera, the driver tried to escalate the situation with a verbal showdown. What he didn't expect is that the biker's helmet cam was rolling the whole time, capturing every word, every swing, and every reckless move. Moments later, the tone shifts. That initial confidence is gone. The biker's calmness under pressure made the driver look completely unhinged. This entry doesn't just show why you should never start road rage over something dumb. It shows how fast the tables can turn when you think you're the tough guy. So the thing is, it's one thing to lose your temper behind the wheel, but when you've got a kid in the car and still decide to go full maniac mode, that's when the internet and the law team up to make sure you face the consequences. But if you thought helmet cams were the end of wild confrontations, this next one features a full-on meltdown with a passenger seat witness, her own child. It started when a man overtook a driver who was sitting at a green light, completely distracted by her phone. Instead of brushing it off, she turned into a full-blown menace. She sped after him, swerving behind his car, laying on the horn, and screaming out the window. Dashcam footage shows her yelling, cursing, and threatening him while tailing his vehicle down the road, all with her son sitting silently in the front seat. Things only got more unhinged. She eventually stopped her car in the middle of the road, jumped out, and tried to confront the man face to face, shouting insults and getting aggressive on foot. Every second of it was caught on camera. But the story didn't end there. The man turned over the footage to police, and what happened next hit her where it hurts most. Her license was suspended for an entire year. A tantrum in traffic turned into a long-term consequence, and the entire internet saw it unfold. And when people snap in traffic, they usually forget that someone nearby is probably recording. This road rage incident started like most, two drivers upset over what was likely a small disagreement on the road. But instead of letting it go, one woman decided to escalate. She got out of her car, marched straight up to the other driver, and started yanking on their car door. A motorcyclist parked nearby saw the whole thing unfold and had his helmet cam rolling the entire time. The footage shows the woman aggressively pulling on the silver car's handle, shouting and trying to force the door open. She eventually gave up and stormed back to her own vehicle, but the damage was already done. The biker uploaded the clip, and it blew up online. Once people identified her, the fallout came fast. Not only was her behavior condemned, but her workplace also got involved after the clip went viral. She ended up facing major backlash both publicly and professionally. Sometimes it's not the police that bring the karma, it's the internet. Coming up next, a driver tries to intimidate with a vehicle but ends up getting completely outmaneuvered. Coming off the last meltdown, this next one is the perfect cocktail of chaos, poor decisions, and instant regret, served on the 4th of July. It started when a woman, later nicknamed Drunk Karen by the internet, swerved off the road and nearly hit another driver. But instead of owning up to the mistake, she got out of her car and made a beeline for the man she nearly ran into. Clearly intoxicated, she started slurring her words and yelling at him. But while she was busy blaming someone else for her reckless driving, karma made its entrance on 4 wheels. Her car, which she hadn't properly parked, began rolling away. She panicked and tried to dive back into the driver's seat to stop it, but it was too late. The vehicle pinned her between 2 cars in an awkward, slow-motion disaster that was all caught on video. She eventually got free, but the clip was already going viral, exposing not only her behavior, but the consequences that followed. It's not every day that karma rolls up behind you, literally. And just like the woman who got pinned by her own car, this next road rage moment proves that karma doesn't always wait. Sometimes it punches back immediately, especially when you pick the wrong target. After watching that last car roll into disaster, you'd think people would start learning. But the next pair took things even further and got wrecked in the most unexpected way. In this clip, a young couple involved in a road rage dispute decided to take things physical. The targets, you ask? An older couple who were clearly not looking for a fight. But that didn't stop the younger duo from stepping out of their car and charging toward them like they were about to handle business. What happened next was total reversal. Within seconds, the older man and woman fought back and didn't just hold their own. They completely overwhelmed the younger pair. The footage shows the elderly couple landing blows and outmaneuvering their attackers, all while keeping their cool. The younger couple quickly realized they were in over their heads. Their aggressive posture melted into panic as they stumbled backward and tried to disengage. But by then, the damage was done, not just physically, but to their pride. The entire internet watched them get humbled in real time. Goes to show how most fights just aren't worth starting. And just like that last couple who picked the wrong fight, this next road rager found out the hard way that not everyone will sit back and take the abuse. It started with a woman now dubbed Road Rage Karen, weaving between lanes and nearly hitting another driver. The man she cut off honked, and that was all it took to set her off. She pulled over, jumped out of her car, and stormed over to confront him. But she didn't stop at yelling. Footage shows her physically attacking the man, throwing strikes and trying to push him around in traffic. Bad move. He didn't fight back right away, but when she lunged again, he reacted and sent her flying. With one swift motion, he body slammed her back onto the pavement and walked away, keeping his distance while waiting for police to arrive. The whole thing was caught on video and shared across social media platforms within hours. The clip sparked heated debate, but one thing was clear. No matter the gender or the anger, attacking someone on a busy street isn't the power move you think it is. Meanwhile, back in the city streets, one impatient driver thought he could skip the line and bully his way through traffic, only to end up embarrassing himself in front of everyone, including the dash cam. In downtown Vancouver, traffic was crawling thanks to some afternoon construction. Everyone was stuck waiting, bumper to bumper, inching forward one car at a time. That's when a driver spotted something in his rearview mirror, a car flying down the parking lane, trying to cut ahead of everyone who'd been sitting patiently. The driver in the rental wasn't having it. As traffic started moving, he sped up just enough to close the gap and keep the line fair. But the other guy had different plans. Revving his engine and flooring it, the aggressive driver tried to muscle his way in and completely botched it. He scraped alongside the rental, causing a noticeable bump, and then rolled down his window to unleash a profanity-laced tantrum at the guy who didn't let him in. The whole thing was caught on dashcam, and while the rental driver admitted he was a bit more bold than usual, the internet agreed. Cutting in line has consequences. But not every road rage moment happens in seconds. Some drivers hold a grudge for miles, and that's exactly what led to this next mess. It all started when a driver merged into traffic, unintentionally cutting off a woman behind him. Instead of letting it go, she decided that would be her villain origin story. For the next 12 miles, she stayed glued to his bumper, tailgating, swerving behind him, flipping him off at every red light, full-blown rage mode. The driver tried to ignore her and stay calm, but the harassment didn't stop. Eventually, he reached his turn and began to exit. That's when she made her move, trying to swerve around him to cut him off in return. But karma came quicker than expected. She misjudged the space and clipped the front of his car, causing both vehicles to get banged up at the intersection. Thankfully, no one was injured, but the footage was clear. Her need for revenge turned a minor merge into a major accident. She followed for 12 miles, but in the end, she followed herself straight into a crash. And right after one tailgater turned an exit lane into a demolition zone, this next driver tries to force his way through traffic like he was playing bumper cars in real life. This driver from sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, proves that some people don't even need help taking themselves out. They'll do it all on their own. During peak traffic, a line of cars was crawling through an intersection. Everyone was sticking to their lane, inching forward the usual way, except for one driver who decided rules didn't apply. In a move that can only be described as reckless, he gunned it and tried to wedge himself between two cars like it was a NASCAR highlight reel. But he miscalculated. Badly. As he squeezed between lanes, his vehicle clipped the side of one car and spun directly into the path of another. Within seconds, he managed to cause a minor pileup that could have easily been avoided with a bit of patience. The dashcam footage shows it all: the speed, the failed maneuver, and the self-inflicted crash that followed. It was the kind of instant karma that plays out in real time, where the only one to blame is the person behind the wheel. And right after the Scottsdale showdown, we've got another driver who thought the laws of traffic didn't apply to him. Push his way through traffic, literally, and ended up pushed into the arms of the law instead. In the UK, a cyclist known online as Cycling Mikey was calmly navigating traffic when a Mercedes driver got fed up with sharing the road. The driver tried to force his way through, nudging Mikey with his car near a "Keep Left" sign, just enough to make a point, and just enough to leave a dent on his own bonnet. But this wasn't just some minor street scuffle. The entire incident was caught on Mikey's helmet cam, and police happened to be right nearby. Within minutes, officers were on the scene, reviewing footage and issuing tickets. The Mercedes driver was fined £50 for illegally going around the sign and another £90 for hitting the cyclist. Compared to other road rage cases, it was a light punishment, but the real karma came from having it all filmed and publicly shamed. Turns out, when your ego's in the driver's seat, the police won't be far behind. And that wraps up today's video. Which clip left you the most shocked? Let me know your favorite moment in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more insane real-life moments. I'll see you in the next one.